Welcome to today's top tip. So today what we're focusing on is using the access controls within PPS. So the first thing that we're going to navigate to is the Tools menu, and within here we're going to go into Setup Practitioners and System Users. Now it's important to remember at this stage you must be a system administrator within PPS to apply these access controls. Now what access controls are is the ability to prohibit different areas of the system to certain individuals. So if we just focus on Laura Temple and click Modify, we're navigating to this fourth tab along, which is the access control area. And the first thing we're presented with is these two tables at the bottom here. So we've got the locations table and the departments table. And you'll see it's just a simple click to remove which areas you don't want them to have access to within PPS. So by doing this, it means that they would never be able to access anything to do with location B or C within the system. And similarly on departments, they would never be able to access anything to do with physiotherapy or podiatry within PPS. Now going a little bit deeper into this, if we click onto this settings panel here, this will take us into the more in-depth areas of PPS. So you can see as we scroll down here, we've got all the different areas within the system. And along the top here, we've got access, add, modify, delete, print, export, and own only. So if we first of all just focus on the own only section at the very top, if we were to go for own only for everything, that would effectively mean that Laura, our practitioner in this example, can only ever access her own patients within PPS. So she would never be able to see anyone else's patients within the system, anyone in the diary or consultation notes, etc. Working our way along, if we've got export, print and delete rights here. So if we were to remove the export rights for Laura Temple, that would mean she is no longer able to export anything from the system, so in any of these areas. Similarly for print and delete, so she would no longer be able to print or delete anything in the system. Now, as we work our way down here, you'll see we've got different subsections. So we don't necessarily have to remove the access to every area. So, for example, if you wanted Laura to be able to delete in certain areas, but you don't want her to be able to delete anything from the diary, we could remove from the certain subsection instead. Then we have our modify, add and access rights. Now, those are your basic rights within the system. If we were to remove everything apart from access, that would effectively make it a read-only database for this individual. So whilst she would be able to log in and see her diary, she won't necessarily be able to add any appointments in, modify those appointments or delete them. So as I say, as you work your way through here, you've got every different area of the system. So you've got activities, appointments, accounts and so on. And most importantly of the lot, if we scroll all the way down here, you'll come to the clinical notes tables. And this is an area that's really worth focusing on for admin users or reception users to remove their access to this completely. So whilst they'll still be able to make bookings on practitioners' behalves, run reports on their behalves, etc., they won't be able to read any clinical notes that are private in the system. So once you're happy with those access controls that you've set up, click on Save and it will set those in stone for Laura. You've also, along the right-hand side here, got the opportunity to copy the settings from another user. So if you were to add another practitioner in the system that will work on the same access controls as Laura Temple, you could just copy those settings across from Laura to save you having to go in and change those each time. So that's for today's top tip.